have to say that Frozen is probably one of Disney's most iconic films ever, which is a pretty big statement, I reckon. Back maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, saying something like that would have probably been met with a lot of scorn and a lot of disbelief, with the opinion being that this perception had been coloured by recency bias. But now, I think you can just look at the impact that this film and indeed the franchise has had in general, and just see how massive it is. Simply in terms of its box office reach, I mean, it's popular, the acclaim that it's won, the merch that it's sold, dolls, costumes, lunchboxes, streaming numbers of the film, and the music, the impact it had on kids of the early 2010s, and the impact that it continues to still have now to fresh generations. It's just huge. Few films ever come close to that sort of impact, and a lot of this acclaim, a lot of this popularity, it comes down to the legend that's been formed between two characters. Well, there's Olaf as well, but especially the two sisters, Anna and Elsa. If these two people were real celebrities, they'd be megastars of the 2010s, and would still be relevant today. And really, besides Mickey Mouse, I feel like these two have pretty much become the face of Disney in general. And a lot of their appeal and popularity, their legend, as I said, comes from the close sisterly bond that they share. The fact that the two of them are trailblazers and redefined the concept of true love in the context of a Disney film, as well as the role of the princess. And I think their impact is completely and utterly undeniable in that way. And yeah, everybody holds up that sisterly bond as one of the most wholesome bonds in Disney history. And what I'm trying to get across here is that in general, Anna and Elsa, their sisterhood, it's a pretty big deal all around. And so, what else is there for me to do other than try to poke holes in it? To take this supposedly wholesome family bond and try to tear it to shreds, to try and burn it to the ground. And yeah, I mean, it's all in good fun. There's no actual hate here. I rather enjoy the franchise, and I've done stuff like this before. Like when I tried to make sense of the terrible system of government that operates in Arendelle, and how it's the franchise's biggest mystery that the kingdom didn't somehow crumble to dust at one point or another, especially when Elsa was in seclusion. And so, yeah, that's what I want to talk about today. That whilst this bond is held up both in-universe and out of universe as something really important to the story, really special, I actually don't think it's quite as wholesome as people make it out to be. I'm not going to dispute that it is important to the story, especially from Anna's POV. After all, the driving force of the story, in both films in my opinion, is Anna's love and devotion to her sister. That's what's driving her actions. That's what causes her to do the things she does in the story of Frozen and Frozen 2. And I'd actually put some good money on the fact that it's also going to be a major driving force during Frozen 3. After all, why bother changing something that's worked so well in the past? And if you've grossed billions and billions of dollars in box office sales and merchandise, it just doesn't make business sense to change things. But yeah, I think this is the great con of the revival era. The mythological bond of the sisters. How wholesome, how lovely, and from my point of view, how one-sided. How are you going to be calling something like that the most powerful and beautiful sisterly bond put to screen? Come on now. I mean, credit where credit's due. When the story does begin, our sisters are tight. They're close, they love each other very much. Elsa has magical ice powers, and the two love using those powers for fun and games and adventures, until of course one of those adventures goes pretty badly wrong, and Anna ends up getting hurt. And in a moment of truly trash-tier parenting, Elsa's parents, the king and queen, have her hide her powers and internalize everything, which, well, she does do that. And to me, this is the end of Elsa's journey of being a good and loving sister. I mean, what does she do from here on out? She isolates herself from Anna. I mean, they're already both cut off from the world outside the palace. They're locked inside, and she chooses to just never speak to her really ever again, and stays locked up in her room, even when their parents die. She doesn't come out, she doesn't mourn with her sister, she just tells her to go away or doesn't respond. And apparently, from what I understand, at least from what the characters say in the film itself, she pretty much just ignores her straight up for years. Honestly, after that, Anna's a goddamn saint for even wanting to speak to her at all. And then, after all this neglect, and even after Anna's offered her the olive branch trying to reconnect, she feels like she has the right to shoot down Hans trying to marry Anna. I mean, she is completely and utterly right to do so in hindsight. And honestly, discouraging your sister from marrying a dude she's just met seems like the right plan. But at the same time, she's not really talked to her sister since they were little kids. And all of a sudden, she's making demands and trying to have input on her life? Nah, don't be like that. I don't like it. She then runs off into the mountains to live in isolation as a hermit before accidentally triggering a massive snowstorm. Anna goes out to find her, braving many deadly dangers, only to have the door slammed in her face and her heart frozen solid by Elsa's powers, which condemns her to death except for an act of true love. Elsa doesn't go to check on her after she clearly nailed her with some powers, And I mean, last time that happened, it was pretty bad. And she simply makes a giant snow monster and lets it run amok chasing them away. How loving. Yeah, she supposedly does this to try to protect Anna, but honestly, whenever I watch it, it always just comes across as her running away, protecting herself and not her sister. Finally, she ends up getting subdued and captured by Hans and the boys, who take her back to Arendelle to enact their little scheme. Hans wants her and Anna dead so he can somehow claim the throne. Not sure how he thought that would work out for him, but he was going to give it a good old college try. She then escapes her prison and goes out into the storm again for some reason, only to break down when she hears that Anna is supposedly dead at her hands. And then, in the end, it is Anna who saves Elsa from getting killed. Yes, the terminally ill sister saves the selfish sister, and by doing so, she reverses the curse upon herself and teaches Elsa the lesson that the key to reversing her powers is not fear and not concealment, but love and acceptance. And so, yeah, whilst Elsa's clearly battling mental illness and trauma, I can't help but feel that it's Anna that breaks the mold, it's Anna that does everything, and it's Anna that completely and utterly carries this sisterly team. She saves the day, she's the one who seems to care, she fights for her sister, whilst Elsa wallows and cuts herself off from everybody. Not exactly an ideal sibling relationship if you ask me. I'm not hating, not bashing. The film is a true classic. And I think that Elsa really is a cool and complex character, one of the best written Disney characters of all. But I really don't think she's a good sister. Not by any means. And big call, I don't think she'd be nearly as popular if she didn't get to belt out one of the most iconic songs in film history and also get her brand new glow-up dress that's made of ice. Her character is largely a bystander, and Anna is the true hero of Frozen. Sorry, not sorry. But hey, a chance for redemption going forward into the second film, right? Maybe the roles are going to be reversed. Maybe Elsa's going to be able to show off how much love and care she puts into their relationship. Maybe she's learned from her mistakes, right? Kind of. She's definitely closer to her sister, but there's still so much distance. I don't know about you, but if I had a sibling who had proven herself to be as ride or die as Anna is for Elsa, I would be all in on sharing whatever was bothering me. But apparently she doesn't learn. And across the course of the film, she's always trying to send Anna away under the guise of protecting her, which culminates in her pretty much leaving Anna and Olaf in the dust so she can check out her crazy mystical powers and their source, which, well, yeah. She is better in the second film, but I can't help but think that she's just not really doing this whole sister thing quite right. Like I said, it does make sense for her background and the way in which she was raised and treated and whatever, but at the same time, I don't find their dynamic all that wholesome. Elsa just does her thing. She doesn't really take into account Anna's feelings, and she thinks that by being distant and going off on her own, she's keeping Anna safe. And so in the end, more than anything, I find their dynamic a little bit toxic and a lot of it sad. And so yeah, not really much else to say other than that. And so with all that being said, that's the end of the video, and I would like to remind you that these have just been my opinions, and I'd like to hear yours. What did you think of my thoughts on Elsa and Anna's bond? Are you with me? Or maybe you think I'm completely off base and stupid? I'm curious for your thoughts, so make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know.